I've gone on the record saying that Pioneer is a place where you can play your old standard cards, but I didn't expect the standard deck to get a Pioneer pour over while it was still legal in standard itself and pretty brand new there. Spellslinger Salty Saint Nick, who you may remember from engineering the Boros Pia deck in Pioneer previously, has cooked up a souped up version of the Dimir deck that has been taking standard by storm recently. Drawing cards and dealing damage, let's delve into what makes Dimir Proft a Pioneer force to be reckoned with. The deck is based around the namesake card, Proft's Eidetic Memory. This 2-mana enchantment gives you a limitless hand size on top of drawing you a card when it enters, but the main appeal to playing it is the ability that triggers at the beginning of combat. If you've drawn more than one card this turn, you get to put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of cards you've drawn -1. So this counts your first card drawn for your turn, which is the -1, as well as the card that Proft has drawn you itself. Matching this with cheap cantrips means that you can quickly grow a small creature into a big damage threat fast. The Pioneer format gives you more spells to synergize with Profts in the form of Opt in addition to Consider, which the standard version does still get to run for a little bit of time. Some lists have added cards like Wizard's Class or Chart of Cores, but the current versions I've seen floating around seem to be keen more on 1-mana cantrips over multi-mana multi-draws. One of the big reasons this low mana curve is important is because we have access to Treasure Cruise in this format, drawing 3 cards for as little as 1 mana thanks to delving away all those low mana costing spells. This buffs up a creature with 3 additional counters, no doubt drawing us more ways to draw even more cards and buff it up even more. Our deck's spell package rounds out with the powered up versions of the black spells we see in the standard version, in this case Fatal Push and Thoughtseize. Both operating as 1 mana to fuel Cruise and ways to disrupt our opponent's plan is key for keeping the tempo up in this type of deck. The deck is rounded out by some catch-all removal in Bitter Triumph and Pile-On, paying less mana by convoking the creatures that are still too small to swing in. The creatures you want to be putting these counters on in standard are low mana with evasion, such as Spyglass Siren or Ingenious Prodigy, which also can help us draw additional cards. In Pioneer though, we get to introduce a few different creatures to take the plan to the next level. Benthic Biomancer is a 1-drop we haven't seen since the Terramander Mono Blue days of standards past. The many-typed merfolk not only grows itself once with Adapt, but can loot a card whenever it gets a +1/+1 counter on itself. That means Profts putting counters on it nets us extra card draws. While this won't get us extra counters that turn, we can always use more ways to draw cards, and discarding things fuels our treasure cruises. Ledger Shredder is still one of the best cards to carry the counters from Proft's Eidetic Memory, as this card not only flies and gets out of burn removal range quickly, but it can continue to grow itself thanks to Kanag. We have lots of cheap spells just like the Izzet Phoenix deck has, so Shredder gets big even without our namesake card in this deck. Evangel of Synthesis is another port over from the standard version, looting when it enters and synergizing with our Draw 2 theme by getting +1/+0 and Menace until end of turn, making it a great backup to carrying our counters. The deck also runs a singleton Sheoldred the Apocalypse main deck, sometimes more than one, but a lot of times just a single copy. One of the best creatures in the format, Sheoldred helps us catch up on life and board state against the aggressive decks, turning Consider into draw a card, gain 2 life, and Treasure Cruise into something just not fair. The Pioneer versions sometimes lack Steam Core Scholar to draw more cards and fly. It changes the game plan a little bit and gives the deck a sort of young Pyromancer angle of attack. Sedgemoor Witch also wields Menace, and a ward cost of paying 3 life ensures that it still deals some damage even if it just dies, but the key thing to the Witch here is that with all of our purposefully low mana spells being cast, we suddenly have a go wide angle to the deck. Stacking up pests gives us more creatures to spread counters onto, as well as chump blockers that gain life when they die. It's a big upgrade to the one-dimensional attack plan of the standard version, and a big part of the reason the deck has legs in Pioneer at all. Cryptic Coat is another card that's in the Pioneer version, but not always the standard one. The card functions in a similar way to Sedgemoor Witch. So long as we have 2 mana to bounce the artifact to our hand, we can protect it from ever being abraded, and we can create an army of tokens with Ward to place counters on and attack with the go wide angle again. With some luck, we can also flip over into one of our creatures with the code equipped and make them truly unblockable rather than just evasive. Our sideboard allows us to fill in some holes that our game plan has in a couple of different places. Since the core of the deck is still very much tempo based, we're looking to swap out broad, good against many deck spells for specific answers to throw them off their game plan from our sideboard. Spell Pierce is a card that comes in against combo and control decks, disrupting them at a key moment to make them stumble as we chip away at their life totals. Negate functions in a similar way, although the 2 mana is a larger investment to do something similar. Duress is also for the spell-based matchups like combo and control, so that they don't have the right spells at the right time to execute their game plan, or, in some cases, execute our board state. Ashiok Dreamrender and Cling to Dust have some overlap, specifically against the graveyard decks like Izzet Phoenix. Both cards can get rid of things from the yard, Ashiok entirely, while providing some sort of upside. Cling gains life hitting a Phoenix or a different creature, or it draws us a card while limiting the ability to treasure cruise from our opponent on curve. Meanwhile, Ashiok prevents decks like Lotus Field from being able to search via Archdruid's Charm entirely. Now board these in accordingly, because they're not a bonded pair, so they don't both have to come in together against every single deck. Blot Out and The End are additional removal spells that come in for slightly different reasons. Blot Out is slowly becoming the best answer Pioneer has to cleanly answer a Vein Ripper on the board, as the effect requires the opponent to sacrifice it and only costs us 2 life overall. Meanwhile, The End helps by exiling all the Amalias, Phoenixes, and even Vein Rippers since we have token fodder. With all the namesake cards removed from our opponent's deck, we're able to either stunt their game plans or shut them down entirely. Additional copies of Sheoldred or Cryptic Coat come in for different reasons. Sheoldred is a great card for punishing opposing draw spells and stalling out aggro decks, while Cryptic Coat gets down and dirty for a grindy mid-range matchup and gives us something that control decks have a hard time getting rid of due to its evasion, and cards like Get Lost actually can't hit it. Now the deck's got a lot of promise, and it reminds me of the tempo style of deck that Azorius Spirits and Dimir Rogues was trying to push for a while in the format, and I think it's refreshing that we get to see a deck like that pop up again, although this deck has a little bit of a less disruptive game plan and more of a theme it can execute quickly with like minor disruption pieces in order to help secure a win. Either way you shake it though, drawing cards can't be bad for a deck. So what do you think? Is Dimir Proft looking good for RCQ season for you, or are your eyes looking to another suspect? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to thumbs up the video if you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to, tap that subscribe button there so you can stay up to date on more deck techs, metagame analysis, and in general, Magic content. See you later.